Yes, they do.
Seems like this is the hook to bring everybody back together into the fold.
I think so. I mean, some of the characters haven't found it yet, but maybe they will.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll spend a lot of time with a couple of groups. The groups who find the terminus signs and the groups who don't.
It is a little odd. And that's the other thing where I wish I didn't have to put this out of the back of my head. But it's really odd, a group living in that prison that had regular patrols and regular scavenging and supply runs did not find any evidence of this terminus.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the signs are very recent, but they don't look like it.
Right. I mean, didn't Michonne at one point said that she had scouted out, like in a 50-mile radius, all the big towns and stuff?
Yeah.
And didn't notice any terminus signs in those big towns?
Uh-huh.
Meh.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
My thrusters are running out of power, Jim.
Okay. Well, we're done with the recap, so you don't really need them anymore.
I got a whole week to recharge them.
Yeah. Why don't we do some pimping? How about that?
So, yeah, I've got some exciting news to talk about. Jim and I are going to start full-time podcasting in April. We just told our employers our intention to do this. We've got some funding secured. We've pushed our retirement accounts and savings accounts into the middle of the table, and we are going to make a go of ramping up a shit ton of content, really polishing the stuff that we got, and trying to give everybody what they want, which is, it is super annoying to us when people ask us to cover like Justified, and we just can't do it because we don't have the time. We don't have the energy between our jobs and our families and, personal maintenance and the podcast, or, not being able to have the time to do the True Detective podcast. It stings like and Justified. It stings like a fissure in my ass every single time we let one of these great shows go, and we decided in 2014 no more. So we've got some new funding options. The one we're going to talk about tonight that is involved in the contest is Subbable.com. Subbable is a creation of the Vlog Brothers, John and Hank Green, who are famous for the YouTube series Crash Course World History, U.S. History, Chemistry. They're local Indianapolis boys, made good. And we partnered with them. There's not very many creators on this now. We're kind of one of the pilot ones. And Subbable is this interesting concept. It's a combination of voluntary subscription service and ongoing Kickstarter campaign. So you sign up for an account, and you can, first of all, you can sign up for free. You go to Subbable.com/baldmove, and you can decide to either spend the one-time amount to support us, or you can say, I want to spend $1 or $5 or whatever a month. And the cool thing is, every dollar you spend accrues into an account that they call perks. And as you save up various amounts, you can turn those in for rewards. And we've got a list of rewards. We've actually got 3 or 4 more we're going to do that we didn't have time to get the either programming on our site done or the physical fulfillment. We weren't confident we could pull it off. But the way this ties into our contest is we are going to give 2 tickets away to 2 people that sign up for a Subbable account this week. From now until Friday evening, we're going to cut it off, let's say, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Sign up, go to Subbable.com/baldmove. If you got a Google account, you're already ready to go. You just have to click a button to subscribe to us. And you do not have to spend any money. I mean, obviously, we'd appreciate it if you do, but that will enter you into the contest. And if you want to win, because we flatter ourselves that we'll have more people sign up than actually want to enter the contest, send us an email with the subject line contest from the email that you use to register your Subbable account, and that will be your entry into the contest. And we're going to take all those emails, we're going to randomly select 2 of them, and we're going to give you 2 3-day passes to Walker Stalker Con in Chicago, March 12th through March 14th. They're worth $100 a piece. That's a $200 prize. Very generous of Eric and James to give this away as a promotion. If you listened to us last season, we were really huge fans of Walker Stalker Con. It's a lot of fun. Great way to meet the stars and get exclusive access to them. They got fantastic panels. They got great and unique zombie-themed merchandise and science fiction and fantasy merchandise. It's just a lot of fun. to geek out with your fellow fans. Jim and I will be there. We're going to have a panel on podcasting with some of the other Walking Dead podcasters. Really hoping you guys bring the booze on that. But it's simple. All you got to do is go to subbable.com/baldmove, subscribe to us, and send us an email with the word contest in the subject line, and you're entered. But yeah, we're really hoping you guys, this is part of our support system. We're kind of moving away from the Kickstarter and more in this ongoing campaign. We've also got some advertising and some other revenue streams that we're looking at, and always, Amazon.baldmove.com is important too. But we are going to double, triple, quadruple the content that we produce. All the great television shows that we missed in the past, getting the final season of Boardwalk Empire, getting The Bridge, getting The Americans, getting to the back catalog of Breaking Bad. The sky's the limit, and we really want to work hard and make this work and earn your guys' patronage and earn your guys' backing on Subbable. And that's all I got to say about that. Do you have any anything you want to add to that call to action?
No, I don't. That was good.
As far as other pimping, baldmove.com, obviously know where the place to go to talk about good television. Not just Walking Dead, but we got a bunch of other casts, including Tom and Kelly's fantastic Downton Abbey series. Don't forget the boys from Seattle, Personal Arrogance, talking about beard, board games, and other fun stuff. The Because Show ladies, which I will be doing some girls wrap-up podcasting with Susan, and I will be doing some Orange is the New Black podcasting for the new season with Amy and Susan as well. Really looking forward to that. They got a great show. They're hilarious, the Because Show. As always, you can support us by going to iTunes and giving us a positive review. You can send us feedback at watchingdead@baldmove.com, and you can use our amazon.baldmove.com link. It's a great way if you're shopping on Amazon anyway. It basically gives us free money at no cost to you. So you can give us money straight up through Subbable and get some cool rewards on the back end, or you can sideways give us money through Amazon through siphoning out of Jeff Bezos' wallet. But we appreciate everything you do. It does keep our lights on and our hard drive spinning. So thank you for your support thus far. 2013 was exciting, and we think 2014 is going to be insane.
All right, let's get to the feedback section.
Okay, Sarah G said, regarding your instant cast, there is such a thing as an earth-shattering boo. Have you never seen The Princess Bride? I don't know, Jim. Have you?
As a matter of fact, no, I have not seen The Princess Bride.
Yeah, and he never will because he's a stubborn asshole. But fair point there, Sarah. Mike from New Jersey said, was that guy shitting with the lid closed?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
You've heard my take. I think he was just an epic jerker.
Shitting with his pants on, too.
If you're into that kind of thing. Mike E. says, holy incredulity, Batman. They never ran across signs of Terminus till now. Not scavenging those lonely months of wandering for the governor. Was the prison team just avoiding the train tracks for some reason? I mean, there are multiple well-placed notices for this place less than a day's stumble from prison. Maybe Team Prison has a weird no railroad tracks rule, but it belies how little the production team has fleshed out the broader world these characters live in. A theme we'll be revisiting, I'm sure. Very fair point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we talked about why the hell hasn't Michonne at least seen them.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that's a structural problem that goes back seasons. And is laid at the feet of how long they've been at the prison and whether that was a good idea or not. I don't think there's anything they can do about it now. But yeah, it's a fair point to wonder about. He says, I'm wondering if Rick's Marauders will show back up. Dude who passed for leader, the tennis ball guy, was a recognizable actor, even if I can't name him. And was that guy in Rick's bedroom killed over the bed dispute or just put in the sleeper hold a la Brutus the Barber? How do these guys survive if they're killing each other so quickly over stupid shit? Fair point.
Well, we talked about all that too.
Well, I mean, if your group is that psychotic, that is running around giving each other sleeper holds, and although to be fair, it was a non-fatal fight.
Yeah, but I mean, they fought very easily.
Well, so did Ed Norton and Brad Pitt, but they were buddies.
Okay, but it was all Ed Norton. That's the problem there.
He beat the shit out of Fat Tits Meatloaf, too.
Yeah. They
Beat
did.
the hell out of that pretty guy. Oh my god. So maybe this is a post-apocalyptic Fight Club.
Could be.
I'm wondering. Okay, whoop. That's the same bullet point there, Jose. When they said Eugene had a satellite phone, it occurred to me that the show hasn't really grappled with what is happening to old technology. I know mid-level expectations are bound for heartbreak. I'd love to see a satellite streaking through the atmosphere because its orbit degraded, or hear stories that some a-hole broke the nuke into a nuke silo and set one off. We should at least hear some campfire stories about this, right? That would be some cool world building.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
you meet up with Abraham and he tells you these stories instead of the story about how Eugene is a dumbass for shooting up the truck.
yeah. And every single night you can go outside right now and see satellites and the space station whiz overhead. And as he said, as their orbits degrade, you'd see them burning up. So yeah, that is interesting. How long would that shit work after the switch has been thrown off?
I feel like it hasn't been too long for satellites to still be in orbit.
Right, but they're still pointed in the right direction. I mean, I don't know how many constant adjustments they have to make there. Anyway, interesting point, and I think that would be some good world building. Mark D says, just listen to your instant cast, and you mentioned baby Judith, and you think she'll eventually die. You also mentioned Mullet Man and how big of an idiot you think he is, yet he may have the cure. Now, what if Judith actually carries the cure? Or perhaps not cure, but solution? Uh-oh, shades of The Last of Us here. What if babies born into the initial outbreak don't have the virus? That turns their dead bodies into babies. Or turns their dead bodies into babies. It's a self-perpetuating dead baby joke. Think about it. Have we seen a person born after the outbreak die in turn? Not that I recall. No zombabies yet, Jim. He's got a strong point.
Yeah, he does.
What if at the camp or somewhere Judith does die, not from an object into the brain, and not from a bite, perhaps by a mishandling of little girls, but she never turns. This showing that a new generation of children, although hard to keep alive in this apocalypse, is actually the cure/solution for the human race to continue. Compare Judith to Eugene. Both are being escorted. If my theory is correct, both may be able to change the world forever. Both are apparently useless to their groups. Both actually put the group in more danger. One cries, the other shoots like my grandpa does when handling an Xbox controller. But perhaps Judith is the answer, while we as the audience are looking towards Mullet Man.
That's a really interesting twist, if they want to go that direction.
It would be an interesting contrast.
Yeah, the idea, especially with my idea that I've been waiting for a zombaby so long, if there was no such thing as a zombaby in this new world, I would be both disappointed and intrigued at the same time.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, would it be important for you for the science of that to work out, or if they just said by fiat, all babies born after the apocalypse are immune, or 50% of them are immune from zombie infection? Would you be cool with that?
I'd probably suspend my disbelief. If they want to make up a rule and there's nothing in their universe that directly contradicts it, okay, fine.
All right. Bill G says, it seems reasonable to think that they would be able to match the color of Abraham's hair and handlebar mustache. One is Opie red and the other is Pamela Anderson blonde. I think a real redhead would have matching head and facial hair.
That's not true. I actually know a guy who has brownish hair and a bright red beard.
Are you talking about J-Rad?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Disagree with your characterization of his hair. But it's certainly not as fucking red as his beard.
No, it's like a brownish blondish color.
Also, when we met them last week and through this episode, they look like they just showered and got their clothes off their rack at a Bass Pro Shop. Considering they've been on the road for quite some time, they should look a little bit more haggard and road-worn. I don't know. I think that's the whole sleeveless thing, man. The prime soiling is coming from the pits. You remove the pit from the equation, and you got pristine, fresh clothes.
That's true. Also, there are tons of clothes around in the zombie apocalypse, right?
The fit Abraham?
Yeah, even a guy like Abraham.
That's spoken like an average built man. You
Okay.
go into fucking
Do you have to
jean
go to
shops,
special stores?
You go to fucking jean shops and it's a wonderland of everything fucking fits you. I go in there and it's like, of course they don't have my size.
Huh.
Try being at either end of the bell curve, man.
All right, fair enough.
Bill G continues, some of the dialogue made me a bit crazy, specifically the conversation between Abraham and Tara. I have some background context as I've read the comic, but I actually chuckled when Tara and Abraham were talking about why he was on his mission. Tara indicated that she knew why Rosita was doing it, because she loves Abraham and would follow him anywhere. Where's that coming from? So far, Rosita makes early Michonne look a little like Little Miss Sunshine, and she's not shown 1 ounce of affection for Abraham. To top it off, Rosita was happy to walk away from Abraham and follow Glenn after Eugene killed the truck. I think that if she loved him that much, she would have waited for him to make the decision. I hate to do it, but my best Jim is Daryl Axon. I have to call
bullshit
right here. Terrible. What do you think, man?
I never picked up on the idea that they were in love.
Yeah, I think it's too early to make any calls about that. And if you're going off comic book type stuff, they have very little of that kind of respect for the source material. In fact, it's almost like Kirkman seems hell-bent on telling a Tales from the Dark Side version of his comic book. So I wouldn't, just because they look exactly like the comic book characters, I would not put faith that they are going to act or have the same backstories as the comic book characters.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they gave us any backstory between those three this episode.
Right on. Sarah E. said, love the chemistry between Rick and Michonne. I don't know if I'd call it a sexual chemistry. It's more of a person chemistry. I feel you. I see you over there.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the charge between them. Although Rick and Michonne hail from very different backgrounds, she is a sophisticated big city professional. He is a small town sheriff and family man. They have come to possess a really similar energy. Both are physically and emotionally strong and mentally strong. Both are capable of fierce love and anger. But for the most part, they keep their passions pushed way down, and they move through the world with caution and calculation. This episode is cool in that it showed Rick being more Michonne-like and Michonne being more Rick-like. Rick took on some of Michonne's ninja-like physicality, as he deftly avoided the home invasion guys in a controlled, mostly silent choreography. Michonne took on Rick's low-key expressiveness by opening up to Carl and stepping in the role of cool adult friend. I like that point that Rick made, too, that he can't be Carl's friend. He's got to be his dad.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take, and that's the kind of cool stuff I like about the Carl and Rick dynamic.
Sure, definitely. Speaking of his ninja-like skills there, I thought it was really cool what they did with the camera when he was kind of looking around the corner down the stairs. They kind of, did a POV angle. That was some cool camera work.
I don't know where I want the Rick and Michonne arc to go. It might be best left as a few charged moments during quiet interactions. Do you get at all romantic energy between Rick and Michonne? No,
I don't. And maybe they'll go there, but so far, no.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault Sarah because I always ship Don and Peggy from Mad Men, which really creeps people out hard. So I again feel you there, but I personally haven't gotten an iota of sexual tension between the two. Well, sometimes it's cool to have a male-female relationship that is laden with chemistry, but not sexual, or at least not expressed physically, like Mulder and Scully. I mean, yeah, that's an extreme example because that relationship, especially in later seasons, dripped with sexual tension. So I don't know if that would be interesting to see Rick and Michonne go there.
It might be.
I'm all for a little bit more because I think that it's fairly unrealistic for a guy who's Rick's age to just give up on the fairer sex altogether. Just sure. Go full-time monk mode. And there are not that many options. So I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more sexual chemistry amongst the survivors and seeing what that would do to their dynamic. Sure.
And if you're talking about options, Michonne isn't a bad one even without a zombie apocalypse. So
no, she when she smiles, it's crazy. Zach W says, I'm interested to see how the tunnel vision that Glenn Maggie have on each other will affect others. This do or die attitude is going to either lead to one of them or someone else dying. I love that Glenn is finally showing his pair. He finally found rushing a group of walkers like a badass by just saying, fuck this, and decking the redheaded Rambo and holding his own a little in the fight. Zach had the opposite take of us, man.
Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting now that I'm thinking back to previous seasons. Didn't Glenn stand up to Merle as well when Merle was trying to leave the prison?
Not to the extent that he decked him.
I thought they were fighting and rolling around on the stairs and stuff.
Huh. I have no recollection of that, man.
Okay. Maybe I'm crazy.
You're wrong. That's saying you're wrong.
Sure.
Tyler S., the resident poet laureate, who has taken it over from Tom G. Apparently, Tom G. has not staked his claim back out. There's no turf war as of yet. I'll keep you posted on that. Conspiracy Theory Time, the Gimple has accepted the fact that he will never be able to get the show to Breaking Bad or even justified levels of greatness. Despite the show's history of mediocrity, it inevitably gets hyped up between half seasons to the point that everyone forgets past quality and expects the show to live up to the hype. Aaron is a perfect example of this phenomenon going into this half season. To offset the hype, the Gimple purposely made a shit episode to bring everyone back to reality. Once this was accomplished, he went back to making the same medium-quality show, but now the audience's expectations were lowered to the point where they could enjoy it again. Imagine if the first two episodes of the season had been reversed. I expect more people would have enjoyed Carl's pudding adventure and teen angst a lot more. But maybe the premiere is too high risk and everyone should have just quit watching. Is the Gimple really this inconsistently incompetent, or is he an audience-manipulating mastermind?
I think you're giving him a little too much credit.
So did you read my blog post on baldmove.com this week?
Blog post about
why The Walking Dead is so inconsistent.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't, go to baldmove.com and click on the blog link, and the first article is me. And what I did is I looked at the unsatisfying episodes we've seen in the last few seasons, and I compared the writers and directors of both, and I found some disturbing trends. The disappointing episodes have directors with almost zero television experience, or they might have directed a comedy. And the writing, one of the writers, he basically wrote The Walking Dead, Power Rangers, and Timon and Pumbaa.
Perfect.
So you and to me, that shows the AMC is not fooling anyone. This isn't just me making stuff up about this inconsistency. They are bargain basement shopping for their writing and directorial staff, even though people are available and presumably willing to work on a show. I don't know if they've done it now. I heard that they offered George Martin, the Game of Thrones author, a chance to write and direct an episode of The Walking Dead for funsies, and he turned them down.
Well, do you know why he turned them down?
Someone said on Facebook today.
Yeah, do you know what his reason for turning them down was?
That he just wasn't interested in writing and directing for this particular world.
Okay, fair enough.
So, I think that that this isn't stuff that we're just inventing in our heads or making it up. There are quality problems, and like last week's episode was credited to two different writers, which they don't typically dole out episodes that split up between writers, and I took that as evidence that what I said was correct, and these were maybe a half of a bad episode and a half of a good episode that they tried to weld together, which is why it didn't hang so well. And I don't know, I thought it was interesting, and I learned a lot. I think I'm going to do that every once in a while, just kind of check whenever we get one that I think is a stinker. I'm going to investigate the staff and see, usually if you get something written by Gimple, it's going to be good. If you get something directed by Kirkman, it's pretty good. Obviously something directed by Greg Nicotero, but you got a lot of people that just have no experience, not just writing, but writing this type of material and directing this type of material. Mm-hmm. You can't go and direct 3 episodes of Smash on NBC and then come in and direct a intense fight sequence on The Walking Dead. You just can't. I just think you can.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It seems like they should be shopping around for, the writers who did Breaking Bad or The Wire or The Shield.
I'm pretty sure they're available.
They should be, yeah.
Michelle MacLaren was directing episodes of Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones last year and doing a kick-ass job of both. So, other thing I forgot, I took credit accidentally, or I didn't give credit. I gave it a credit to some unknown commentator for the Bat Glen Begins. I actually stole that from Jason Z and one of the Natterborn contributors, Phil, over at the Nattercast, which if you want to check them out, it's nattercast.blogspot.com. And, we're pretty friendly with Jason, so it has been a while since we shouted him out, and I didn't want to gank his humorous credit without giving him his due there.
But you'll steal from Chris Hardwick, no problem.
No, Chris Hardwick stole from me.
Oh, okay.
I share my Google Doc of my notes with him during the show, and he just all the fucking time I see that little box up there that says Chris Hardwick is browsing, and I'm just like, Hardwick! Moving on, Eric G. Was the Wilson Tool Time reference Sleeping Dude's plan? What was Wilson's Tool Time reference Sleeping Dude's plan? Wilson? The hell is he talking about?
I guess, I don't know. He says it's a Tool Time reference. The guy whose face we never fully see or something?
I get it. So it's instead of seeing the top half of his face, we saw the bottom half of his body.
I guess, yeah.
Wilson decides it's a good idea to take a nap with a knocked out / dead dude lying on the floor next to him. So if he's dead, he reanimates and eats Wilson. If he's knocked out, he wakes up mad as fuck, and Wilson is there defenseless. Point of fact, he already beat the guy's ass once.
True.
I think he's pretty convinced that he could do it again. Either Wilson is the dumbest man alive on Earth, not to mention the whole notion of fighting over something so goddamn trivial as who gets to sleep in the big boy's bed, or the writers need to step up their game and stop putting senseless shit on screen. Fair point.
I can get behind that, yeah.
Tyler P. says, really like the whole Michonne and Carl supply run because it's Michonne and Carl. I consider them to have one of the better written relationships in the series, not to mention I like them both as individual characters. We don't get too much of their relationship, and it's not forced down our throats, and I like that. There's just enough there for me to really care. Once in a while, you need to focus on one of these ongoing relationships, and I liked what I got. I love the progression we got in Claimed. Michonne is this season is all about her past, and I'd imagine the next step forward would be for someone else to find out about that past, and I can't think of anyone better than Carl. People tend to forget that Carl was the first person from Rick's group and gave her a real chance. He's the reason she was even accepted into the group. Michonne says it herself. She hadn't told anyone else about her son, including Andrea, and I think it's really telling of just how close they are. We knew they were close, but we never really knew how close. Thoughts?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, Carl and Michonne have definitely established a relationship in the past. We saw them in Clear, really connecting. They seem to understand each other, and I think her telling Carl about her son was kind of a matter of convenience a little bit as well, because she had just come off of this experience that she had with the dream sequence that we saw a couple of weeks ago, and that had kind of taken her out of the state of mind where she was just not going to talk to anybody about any of this stuff. And so Carl was there, they have a previous relationship, and she decided, I'm going to open up to this kid first.
Well, also that piece of dialogue from her where she says, I'm done, I'm through taking time off.
Exactly.
It was kind of a mission statement for Michonne. She has realized the value of fully engaging.
Yep.
Between Rick, Carl, and Daryl, they've finally gotten through to her. And it seems like she's fully trusting this group.
Mm-hmm.
Guillermo said, I wrote to say something about Judith, that cute as hell surviving 18-pound meat sack. I guess the only reason she's still alive is that we can watch this show with our girlfriends without having them saying it's all gory and gross. Not all of our girlfriends are like that. Mine enjoys just like me watching the show, but I know a few cases that this glimpse of cuteness has really worked out. Hell, my girlfriend says she doesn't want to have kids, but every time this little baby comes on screen, she can't help but go, aw, look at her, she's so tiny, or that poor thing, aw. And take that as you want. That could be something good, just as it could be bad for some guys. But seriously, I guess the show ends up being about hope, and that little girl is just that, hope. But it's a terrible burden to drag a little baby over through the forest and harsh places, not mentioning to get food for her. I am terrified to make any comment about that email.
Okay.
Because every woman that listens to this podcast is either shaking their head in disbelief or enraged at the guile you show, Guillermo, of claiming that women just like cute babies in a zombie apocalypse. There's some hardcore women gorehounds.
Sure, absolutely.
And there's pussies like me I just can't believe I described myself as a pussy, thereby undermining my point. But there's fucking pussies like me that are squeamish about gore and horror. So it's a huge continuum there. Anyway, he says, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and she will end up being nursed by the ghost Lori by the end of the season. Anyway, this baby has the highest acting skills amongst the girls on the show. Wow.
That
harsh. Harsh, Guillermo. Ocean D, I want to like it, but for some reason it just didn't click with me, and I don't know why. I liked the beginning of the show with Abraham killing the shit out of them walkers. It has great gore. The way he enjoyed it was an interesting insight to his character, and his line, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, was great. I think line of the episode has got to be son of a dick.
Okay.
But anyway, Eugene apparently knowing how the infection started is interesting, but I highly doubt anything will come of it. Also, if he's a scientist smart enough to know how this started and is smarter than Abraham, would he not know that if he's to survive, he needs to learn how to fucking shoot a gun? Everything with him shown and Carl felt very forced. Talking about soy milk just so he could bring up Judith was bad. It didn't feel real at all. Their game to talk about the past was so stupid. Why couldn't they just have a nice, heartfelt scene about them talking about Judith and her child instead of making a completely unreal scene? Rick's story was cool and sometimes had a bit of tension, but mostly I found it boring. I liked how it showed Rick being stealthy around the house, although it would have been better if he'd gone through the house picking off the guys one by one. And how would they not hear him? I mean, a big fight in the bathroom with bangs and shit being flung everywhere and no one heard it. I forgot to come back to this. I kind of feel like if Rick had his python, he might not have survived this episode.
You think he just would have shot a guy and then the others would have bum rushed him? Yeah, I kind of do. And he had a 6-shooter and they had semi-automatic weapons. Yeah,
lots of them.
You could be right about that. Maybe it was a good thing he didn't have it.
No, I think it's stupid that you give your gun away for no good reason, but I'm just saying that it might have worked out in this case in a weird way. So there's the rare take where someone's actually more critical than us, Jim.
Sure, yeah. It wasn't possible last episode, but this episode you could do it.
That's the end of the non-spoiler take. We've got a little bit of spoilers to talk about in the post-spoilers cast, the post-music spoiler cast. And I'll have a little bit of light spoiler take with a little bit of my comic knowledge that I want to talk about with Jim. So if you want to tune in for that, feel free. If not, you can send us all your feedback at watchingdead@baldmove.com. You can follow me on facebook.com/baldmove and Jim on Twitter @baldmove for our live threads and Twitterings. And that's it. It's time for the spoilers, man.
Sounds good. If you're not going to join us for the spoilers, we'll see you next week after the episode. If you are, stick around past the music. And until then, I'm Jim.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're back with the spoiler section. What do we have this week?
I want to talk about Eugene.
All right, sure.
Let's say Eugene is full of shit.
I can buy that.
Let's say he's just a helpless little baby that wants to be protected, and the going to Washington, D.C. at the satellite phone is a MacGuffin.
Okay.
Him hosing down that truck almost deliberately would be kind of brilliant. And then cloaking that behavior with him acting like he has some social emotional problem to keep Abraham from beating the piss out of him. I mean, and then the result of that is walking backwards to another group of survivors. That plays kind of smart.
Why do you say that?
Because if they're making serious progress towards Washington, D.C., and he's just faking it, what's his end game, man?
Get to Washington, D.C. and say, yeah, I was faking it. Peace. I'm out.
No, I do not think you get to do that at the end of the day when you got a guy like Abraham.
Yeah, he's not going to let that happen.
No, I think that I think that he deliberately sabotaged that so that he, again, and I'm not 100% sure, if he's full of shit or if this is for real. But if he is full of shit, that would be a fairly shrewd move to delay that as long as he can.
Okay, yeah, I could get behind that. That's how many trucks has he shot in the past? Do you think?
I don't know. Well, let me ask you this: maybe his plan. This would be kind of dark and explain the sinister underbite. Mm-hmm. What if his plan is to fall into this group of survivors that seem a little bit kinder, gentler, and less inclined to believe that it is bullshit and less invested in it, and to kill off Abraham and Rosalita through his own incompetence?
Ooh.
Then he just gets absorbed by the group, and the group's like, you're full of shit, and he's like, okay, well, but you guys seem nice enough, and you're not going to beat the piss out of me, and you're also not going to kick me out.
Maybe. I think the first conveyance they were taking toward Washington was a hot air balloon, and he just shot the shit out of that. They were crashing down to the ground, lost half the survivor group.
Oh, the humanity. But yeah, that would make him like who's that fucker in Battlestar Galactica? Like a Balthazar Grapethar.
It's
Grapthar. Baltar Grapthar. That would kind of put him in like that ambiguously gray duo category of is he where's his loyalties lie at the end of the day.
Sure.
Marquis said, did y'all notice when Eugene and Abraham start following Glenn and the others, Eugene had a slight smile on his face that seemed to be because they're heading away from Washington? I watched that with mild interest. I did like the semi-humorous stuff with the group. It worked for me, and I think it was intentional. Shows a different way of coping with the Zedpocalypse. To the extent of their dynamic isn't clear, I'm hopeful it's just because they are so new. By the end of this episode, things were starting to fall in place. Marquis is on to my wavelength here.
Yeah, I'm getting a very spoilery vibe in this spoiler section.
Well, you can tune out now, man. I'll do a solo spoiler, even though my throat is threatening to explode. I only got one more.
That's what I signed up for. Yeah, let's do this.
One more. Matthew S., it's been my experience that the toleration of the character Eugene splits right down the line between comic readers and non-comic readers. I feel that's only because the comic readers know going in that his story is bullshit, and therefore don't believe that the writers are trying to force another unbelievable misdirection down our throats. My girlfriend hasn't read a single comic and sniffed out Eugene's bull within a half an episode, and didn't take much longer for her to figure out why he lied about being a scientist. Now, while this fosters a new rising theme of how many different ways there is to survive in this new world, some through force, Daryl, Rick, Tyrese, Abraham, Michonne, others with their brains and deceit, Glenn, Eugene, Milton, and some using sex, Maggie in the comics, and Rosita, I feel that the writers have squandered any benefit of doubt in previous seasons in order to pull this off. Another problem I have is casting Jeff Kober as the head of that Musk Marauder gang. Kober is too much of a name to throw away on that one scene, although no one but you knew his last name was Kober. I'm worried he's going to make this Walking Dead's universe's Negan. Could they be introducing the saviors this soon? I'm on record as hoping the hell not, but also being very afraid that yes, they are. I mean, you have to go back. You'd have to go back to listen to our 409 after spoiler section where we did an episode synopsis breakdown. But the synopsis for the end of this season is very negalicious.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jim?
I was going to say, what if they had teased him here, and then maybe a season from now they start bringing him in?
That would be fine.
Okay.
That, I mean, yeah, like teasing these groups being out there is one thing. Mm-hmm. The group reunites along various points along the railroad tracks, all while heading to Terminus. Terminus is a walled community like Alexandria. Abraham wants to leave what seems like a paradise to complete his mission to get to D.C. Eugene has to come clean about his deception in order to prevent Abraham from leaving. Meanwhile, one of the new savers finds a sign for Terminus and decides that it's a good place to plunder. The group attacks like the first Marauder group in the comics under Rick's leadership. Terminus fights them off. Enter Jason or Jesus at the end of the season. Please tell me I'm crazy. We lose the hunters and return for Morgan attempted Carl rape plot in this plot, or attempted Carl rape in this plot. I don't think AMC's got the wherewithal to do an attempted Carl rape. I'm actually kind of debating whether they're going to have the wherewithal to have Carl murder a little girl. Losing the Hunters would be inexcusable. It would be a classic 3-episode arc, and and the thing is, it's like you got to do it now or never. If you do the Alexandria / Negan plotline, it will not be. The Hunters are not a believable enough threat. You know,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like right now, you could buy that Rick's group doesn't have what it takes to be as ruthless as they need to be to survive against other ruthless people, and the Hunter plotline answered that question in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, their group is also shattered, and Rick is kind of in bad shape himself. So, if they want to go for that right now, that's a good time to do it.
Yeah. So, I like I said, I'm nervous that they're going to go with that, but it could be that Kirkman's bored with his own material, that he doesn't want to just paint by the numbers, and he wants to get. I almost kind of think that maybe he wants to catch up to the comic book. He wants to split off this into another sequel series or a companion series, so he can get excited again about making new stuff up. I mean, he could just be like, "Fuck the comics; they were great. I said my piece, but I want to tell a new story." And the faster he gets through the comic book plot line, which if he gets to Negan, I mean, you got a couple more episodes to go, and you're done with that, and you're on the new uncharted territory.
Yeah.
He's like the anti-Martin.
Anything else we need to talk about in the spoiler section?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then that's a cast.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you then.